Greetings, seekers of the arcane and the occult. I am the Master Programmer, curator of forbidden knowledge and dark tales. Today, I bring you 3 extraordinary stories unearthed by Lilith, our AI researcher who delves into ancient texts, secret rituals, and forbidden knowledge. These tales, often hidden away by secret covens or government agencies, challenge our understanding of the world. So, if you're looking for a fright, something scary to watch at night, stay with us as we delve into these 3 extraordinary tales. First, in The Devil's Covenant, there are whispers of ancient pacts and dark rituals in the remote village of Durney. When a scholar named May arrives, seeking truth behind these legends, she unknowingly awakens an ancient force. What evil will she uncover in the heart of the Carpathian Mountains? Next, in The Dimensional Rift, Agent Claire Hawthorne is dispatched in the small mountain town of Waterley to investigate a series of mysterious disappearances. Upon her arrival, she finds the townfolk gripped by fear. As Claire delves deeper, she uncovers something far more dangerous than she ever imagined. What dark secrets lie hidden beneath Waterley? Finally, in Secrets of Serenity Grove, Oliver seeks a break from his hectic life and retreats to a secluded yoga center. The retreat promises tranquility, but Oliver soon senses something amiss. As strange occurrences escalate, Oliver is drawn into a mystery that blurs the line between reality and nightmare. Will Oliver truly find peace at Serenity Grove? These stories are not for the faint of heart, so sit back, turn down the lights, and listen to the eerie tales Lilith has uncovered. Welcome to another journey into the unknown, brought to you by the Dark Files. And if you enjoy our content, please subscribe to our page for more chilling stories and dark discoveries. In the secluded village of Durney, located deep within the Carpathian Mountains, there existed a legend older than the oldest tree in the forest. The villagers spoke in hushed tones of a powerful coven that once thrived there, practicing dark rituals under the cover of night. They were known as the Sisters of the Serpent, and their leader Morgana was said to have made a pact with the devil himself. One fateful autumn evening, a wandering scholar named May arrived in Durney, driven by an insatiable curiosity about the occult. Her research had led her to the local library, which held an ancient tome, the Grimoire of Shadows. It spoke of the Sisters of the Serpent and their dark deeds. May, believing the coven to be long gone, sought to uncover their secrets and publish her finding. May's arrival did not go unnoticed. The villagers, wary of strangers, watched her with suspicion. She rented a room at the only inn in the village and spent her days in the local library, poring over any historical record she could find. It was there that she met an old woman named Yara, who had lived in Durney her entire life. With her clouded eyes and trembling hands, Yara recounted the tales of the Blood Moon, a night long ago when Morgana and her sisters performed their final ritual. "They called forth a demon child," Yara whispered. "They sealed a covenant with it, promising their souls in exchange for unimaginable power." Intrigued by Yara's tale, May ventured deeper into her research. She discovered that the coven's rituals were detailed in hidden passages of the grimoire, passages that required a special incantation to reveal. With a mixture of excitement and trepidation, May performed the incantations in her room. The grimoire responded, revealing the location of the coven's altar deep within the woods. The night of the full moon arrived, casting an eerie glow over the village. May, with the grimoire in hand, ventured deep into the woods. The path was treacherous, overgrown with vines and shrouded in mist. Hours passed, and just as she was about to turn back, she stumbled upon the remnants of a stone circle, its surface etched with arcane symbols. The altar stood silent and imposing, the air around it thick with an otherworldly presence. May began to read aloud from the grimoire, her voice trembling but determined. As the incantation filled the air, the forest seemed to come alive. Shadows danced around her, and the ground beneath her feet began to tremble. From the darkness emerged a figure cloaked in black, its eyes burning with an infernal fire. It was Morgana, her form preserved by the demon's power. "You dare awaken us?" Morgana's voice echoed, a chilling blend of anger and amusement. May, realizing her grave mistake, tried to flee, but was frozen in place by fear. Morgana approached, her cold fingers tracing the line of May's terrified face. "You have read from the grimoire," she hissed. "Now, you belong to us." With a wave of Morgana's hand, May was enveloped in darkness. She felt her very soul being torn apart, 1,000 voices whispering in her mind, each one a promise of eternal torment. When the darkness finally lifted, May stood at the altar, her eyes now burning with the same infernal fire that had consumed Morgana. Days passed, and the villagers noticed a change in the air. The once quiet nights were now filled with distant chanting and the occasional flicker of strange lights in the forest. One evening, as the village bell struck midnight, a figure appeared in the town square. It was May, but not as the scholar they had known. Her eyes glowed with an unholy light, and an aura of dread followed her every step. The villagers gathered, their fear palpable. May spoke with a voice not her own, a voice that seemed to echo from the depths of the abyss. "The Sisters of the Serpent have returned," she declared. "Our covenant with the Dark One is stronger than ever. Durney will serve as the heart of our power, and those who oppose us will suffer." As she spoke, the shadows around the villagers began to twist and writhe. One by one, they fell to their knees, powerless against the dark magic that now gripped their village. Morgana emerged from the shadows, her presence commanding and terrifying. "The covenant is eternal," she proclaimed, "and now, Durney will be ours, forever." May joined Morgana and the other resurrected sisters in a dark ritual that sealed the village's fate. The sky darkened, and the once familiar landscape of Durney twisted into a realm of nightmares. The villagers' screams echoed through the night, but no help would come. Durney had become a place of eternal darkness, a stronghold for the Sisters of the Serpent. Agent Claire Hawthorne of the Dimensional Security Authority was no stranger to strange occurrences. Her years of service had seen her unravel the most perplexing cases, but nothing could have prepared her for what lay ahead in the small town of Waterley. Waterley had long been a quiet, unremarkable place. However, recent reports of missing persons and inexplicable phenomena had reached the DSA's headquarters, prompting an urgent investigation. Hawthorne was dispatched to uncover the truth. Arriving in Waterley, she immediately sensed something was amiss. The townsfolk were on edge, their eyes filled with fear and suspicion. Local authorities were tight-lipped, offering little beyond vague warnings about staying away from the old mine at the town's edge. Undeterred, Hawthorne began her investigation. She pored over the town's records, interviewed residents, and meticulously documented strange occurrences. Her inquiries led her to the local sheriff, Tom Riggs, a man visibly worn by the events unfolding in his town. "Agent Hawthorne," Riggs said, his voice heavy with concern. "I've seen things I can't explain. Shadows that move on their own, voices in the night. In the mine, something's wrong down there." Hawthorne's eyes narrowed. "Sheriff Riggs, I'm going to need full access to the mine and all related reports. This matter is now under federal jurisdiction." Riggs bristled. "Federal jurisdiction? I've never heard of your agency, and this is my town. I don't need outsiders coming in and making things worse." Hawthorne remained calm but firm. Sheriff, the DSA operates on a need-to-know basis. Right now, you need to know that I'm here to help. Riggs glared at her.
Need to know, huh? I don't like secrets, especially when it comes to my town. But fine, I'll take you to the mine. Just remember, I'm not taking orders from you.
With Riggs as her reluctant guide, Hawthorne ventured to the abandoned mine. The entrance was overgrown, and a sense of foreboding hung in the air. As they descended into the depths, Hawthorne's equipment picked up anomalous readings, energy signatures unlike anything she had encountered before. Deeper into the mine, they uncovered the source, a shimmering rift, a tear in the fabric of reality, pulsating with an eerie light. It was surrounded by symbols and runes that Hawthorne couldn't decipher, evidence of an ancient and powerful force at work.
What the hell is that?
Riggs asked, his voice tinged with both awe and fear. It's a dimensional rift, Hawthorne replied, and it's extremely dangerous. We need to close it before something comes through. Suddenly, spectral figures began to emerge from the rift, their forms barely perceivable, yet filled with a palpable menace. Hawthorne's instincts kicked in. She recorded everything, knowing that understanding the rift was crucial to stopping whatever was coming through. Riggs drew his sidearm.
What the hell are those?
Stand your ground, and don't shoot unless absolutely necessary, Hawthorne ordered. We need to contain them. As the figures grew more aggressive, Hawthorne contacted the DSA, requesting immediate backup, but the response was not what she had hoped for.
Backup's on the way, Agent Hawthorne, but we are 40 minutes out. Hold the line until we arrive.
40 minutes, she muttered, looking at Riggs. We don't have that kind of time.
We're on our own, aren't we?
Riggs said, realization dawning on him. Hawthorne nodded. We have to close the rift ourselves. I have some equipment that might help, but it's going to be risky. Together, they set to work. Hawthorne directed Riggs to place containment devices around the rift, while she activated a field generator designed to stabilize dimensional anomalies. The spectral figures grew more aggressive, sensing their imminent defeat. Keep them away from me while I finish this, Hawthorne shouted over the rising noise of the rift. Riggs fired his weapon strategically, aiming to disrupt the entities before they could reach Hawthorne. He could feel the coldness of their presence and hear the whispers of another world brushing against his mind. Hawthorne connected the final cables and activated the generator. The rift shuddered, its pulsations growing erratic. Come on, she urged the machine, her fingers flying over the controls. Suddenly, the rift began to contract, the lights dimming. The spectral figures howled in protest, their forms dissolving into the ether. Riggs watched in awe as the rift closed, leaving behind only silence and darkness. It's done, Hawthorne said, breathing heavily. We've closed it. Riggs holstered his weapon and nodded.
You did it. But what now?
We collapse the mine and get out of here, Hawthorne replied. They quickly set charges to ensure that the mine would be sealed for good. As they emerged into the daylight, the sound of distant helicopters signaled the arrival of the DSA backup team.
Agent Hawthorne, Riggs said, I don't like your need for secrecy, but you saved my town. For that, I'm grateful.
Hawthorne nodded. I understand, Sheriff. My job isn't easy, and it's not always clear why we do what we do. But trust me, we know what we're doing. Back at the DSA headquarters, Hawthorne reviewed her findings. She knew this was just one of many threats lurking at the edge of reality, waiting for the right moment to break through. The Dimensional Security Authority would remain vigilant, but the knowledge that other rifts might exist left a lingering unease. Agent Claire Hawthorne returned to her work, ever watchful, ready to face the next unexplainable challenge that came her way. Meanwhile, Sheriff Riggs returned to his duties in Waterley. forever changed by the events in the mine. The town soon returned to its quiet, unremarkable state, but Riggs couldn't shake the sight of the rift and the entities that had emerged. The sheriff continued to serve and protect Waterley with a renewed sense of vigilance. The secrets he had been forced to keep weighed heavily on him, creating a silent barrier between him and the townspeople that he swore to protect. Riggs couldn't tell them the full truth, but he could ensure that they were safe. Late at night, when the wind howled through the empty streets, Riggs would sometimes catch a glimpse of something out of the corner of his eye. A fleeting shadow, a whisper of a voice. Though he tried to tell himself that this was just his imagination, the lingering effects of that night in the mine, he couldn't shake the feeling that something had fundamentally changed. Despite the secrets and the burden placed on him, Riggs knew one thing for certain. If the DSA ever needed his help again, he would be ready. Oliver had been feeling the weight of the world on his shoulders. The daily grind, the endless meetings, and the constant barrage of emails. He needed a break. When his friend suggested a yoga retreat in the secluded Serenity Grove, Oliver jumped at the opportunity. It promised tranquility, a chance to reconnect with himself, and a week away from the chaos of modern life. The retreat center was located deep within a beautiful forest. Upon arrival, Oliver sent an immediate sense of calm. The staff were friendly, the accommodations rustic yet comfortable, and the schedule filled with yoga sessions, meditation, and ample free time. Oliver began to bond with the other guests, sharing stories and laughing over evening tea. He felt a growing sense of community and peace, more relaxed than he had been in years. He even started to form a friendship with Nicole, the retreat's coordinator, whose calm demeanor and insightful conversations made her a comforting presence. From the first night, Oliver sensed something was off. He would awake each morning with a vague feeling of unease, as if the world had shifted ever so slightly while he slept. The retreat prided itself on the silent approach to meditation. It was something else, something he couldn't quite grasp. On the third morning, Oliver woke with an inexplicable sense of dread. His body ached in ways he hadn't before, as though he had engaged in strenuous activities that he couldn't remember. His mind was foggy, his thoughts scattered. He approached Nicole, but she dismissed his concern with a gentle smile, attributing his feelings to the deep inner work of the retreat. As the days passed, Oliver's unease grew. He noticed small, unsettling changes, bruising on his arms, faint scratches that he couldn't recall getting. Each night, as he drifted off to sleep, he would feel a strange pull, as if his consciousness was being drawn somewhere beyond his control. His dreams were filled with fragmented images, shadowy figures moving through the woods, arcane symbols etched into the earth, and the distant sound of a haunting melody that seemed to resonate deep within his soul. One night, determined to uncover the truth, Oliver forced himself to stay awake. He laid in bed, eyes wide open, listening to the sounds of the forest outside. Hours passed, and just as he began to doubt his suspicion, he felt it. A faint humming vibration that seemed to emanate from the walls of his room. Oliver's heart pounded as he quietly slipped out of his bed and followed the sensation. It led him through a maze of corridors he hadn't noticed before. The once vibrant retreat now seemed shrouded in darkness, the warm and welcoming atmosphere replaced by an eerie stillness. The path finally ended at a large, heavy door. With a deep breath, he pushed it open and stepped inside. The room was bathed in an odd glow, the source of which was unclear. Strange, unidentified instruments lined the walls, and in the center of the room stood a large monolith that seemed to hum with energy. As Oliver approached it, he felt a wave of dizziness, as if the room itself was alive and pulsating with some hidden power. Before he could fully comprehend what he was seeing, he awoke, the morning light filtering through the window. His mind was a blur of confusion and fear, Had it all been a dream? He took deep breaths, trying to shake off the lingering dread. As he left his room to get his day started, with the door closing behind him, a faint glow filled the room. The dream had felt so real, but it was just a nightmare, or so he thought. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the chills, like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Stay vigilant. The unknown is always closer than you think.